Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, September 14th, 2019. This is episode 1626. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Zapier. Zapier connects all your business software and handles the work for you so you can focus on what matters most. Right now through November, go to zapier.com/techguy for your free 14-day trial. And by Grammarly. Grammarly is a communication tool that helps people improve their writing to be mistake-free, clear, and effective. Start writing confidently by going to Grammarly.com/techguy and get 20% off a Grammarly premium account today. And by Simply Safe. Simply Safe protects every door, every window, every room with 24/7 professional monitoring. Visit simplysafe.com/twit for free shipping and a money-back guarantee. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Yeah, time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We talk about smart phones. We talk about smart watches. We talk about all that jazz at 8888. Ask Leo. That's my phone number if you want to talk. 888-827-556 397-4412. No, that's wrong. 888-827-5536. That's all you need. 10 digits that will open the key to the Tech Guy. So Apple had their event. Nothing really surprising on Tuesday. You probably already saw in the news they announced 3 new iPhones. Thank goodness they got rid of the Roman numerals. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I had a high school kid call, "Can you help me tell my friends it's not the iPhone X? It's the iPhone 10. But Apple makes it, confusing. You didn't watch the TV show The 10 Files. No, you watched the X Files. So Roman numerals, I thank goodness they didn't do XI, the iPhone XI. They did the iPhone 11. And interesting, I think in a concession to the fact that people are starting to resist spending so much money on phones. The first phone they announced was just the plain old, excuse me, iPhone 11. They spent a lot of time on the plain old iPhone 11. They didn't even pretend there was another one. They just this is it, the iPhone 11. And they announced a price cut, $50 price cut. So it starts at $699, which is $50 less than the iPhone XR last year. It's the successor to the XR, by the way. That's what it is. It's the next XR. So, and it's very much like the XR. It's I don't know what much to say about it, except it's $50 less. I think most people will probably want to buy that one. That'll be the iPhone of choice for most people, given the price. And remember, every price starts at, because then you can. I don't remember what the memory configurations were. I should go check the Apple Store, but I think that now they do a 64 and a 128 and a 256 in some cases. And if you get the high-end iPhone, yes, because there is another iPhone, the 11 Pro. Oh, and the 11 Pro Max. And the Max and the Pro go, Pro Max and the Pro go to $512. But the iPhone 11, I think that's the one. And if you have a trade-in, which many people will, you might even get it for as little as $400. So pre-orders are open now. You can go into the store and probably get it without too much trouble on Friday, a week from yesterday, Friday the 20th. I think it's a very nice phone. It has 2 lenses like its predecessor, the iPhone XR. So there's a zoom and they kind of they call it wide and ultra wide. That's fair. Wide and ultra wide. And, I think Apple really cares a lot about the cameras. Number of people pointed out, this is always the case when Apple announces new stuff. Oh, Android had it first. Yes, okay. It's true. But I don't think people who use the iPhone really care who had it first. What does that matter? That's irrelevant. It's like if you were the first human to get up on two legs and walk across the room, and somebody said, well, there's a guy down in the Kalahari, he did it first. So what? I did it. I just did it. So what? Apple now has 3 lenses on the iPhone Pro, 11 Pro. It's going to take me a while to get used to this. Oh, here's a good one. They also updated the Apple Watch. Very minor update, except for one thing, the new Watch Series 5. Apple has come up with a screen technology, LTPO, that allows the computer in the watch to slow the screen refresh rate down to as small as 1 refresh per second. And what that means is it takes very little power to update the screen. Once a second instead of 60 or 30 times a second is 1/30th the power. That means finally the Apple Watch can be used as a watch. It will have what they call an always-on display. In other words, you won't have to flip it to see what time it is. You could just look at it. Or even as they showed in videos, even, they acknowledge this. Look at it out of the corner of your eye. Because it's rude, isn't it? You're sitting, you're talking to somebody. You raise your wrist and you flip it. Like you can't even just glance at it. You flip it to get the watch to wake up. And if it doesn't, you have to tap it. And people, this has become the rude Apple Watch move. So now the Apple Watch, you can just, you can be doing push-ups and kind of look at it out of the corner of your eye like that. I'm looking out of the corner of my eye like that. Well, since the very first watches, you've been able to do that, Leo. Apple did not invent that. No, they didn't. And in fact, even Android Wear watches, their competition, and Fitbits and other smartwatches have managed this feat. But Apple finally figured out how to do it without reducing its battery life. So good. That's good. Well, Android had it first, right? They did. The other thing Apple's doing now, which is good, these feel like things that, Apple could have done it years ago. You can go to the online store and mix and match bands. You don't have to just take the default band, which was in every case a rubber band. I'm sorry, fluoroelastomer band, rubber band, cheapy. That you would immediately buy another band. Now you can buy it with the band you want. Oh wow, what an innovation! See, I don't think Apple would get so much heat if their invitation to the event hadn't said by innovation only, like we're the kings of innovation, except, well, Android did it first. I ordered an iPhone 11 Pro Max. Sure I did. Because I want to, I think the cameras look really good. They do one thing that I haven't seen any other phone do. And Apple doesn't even do it with their own camera app, as far as I can tell. Apple actually had to show a third-party app called Filmic that you use, and it's not, it's not free. I think it's $15, and then you might have to spend an extra 15 or more to get this feature. But it looked really cool, and I don't know why no one has done this yet. All phones now have 2 cameras facing out and cameras facing in. The selfie cam. And with Filmic, you can record simultaneously with both of them. In fact, you can record with the wide-angle lens and the close-up lens. You can record with at least 2 and maybe more. I don't know. This is because Apple's processor and memory is so fast. Apple's finally using high-speed memory in its phones for storage. So it can record two video streams simultaneously. High quality, I think. We'll see. We'll find out Friday how high quality. But if they're even HD quality at the same time, that's great. Why, you say, would anyone want that? Well, if you're going to edit, like the idea that you could have a wide-angle shot of your daughter's play, but you could also at the same time be filming a close-up of her lines, and then as you edit it, you could go back and forth And that's normally you need 2 cameras to do that. So that's really cool. You don't have to ask your husband to, can you do the close-up and I'll do the wide, honey? Did anybody do that? I don't know, maybe not. So that's nice. They also invented something. There is innovation. Wait a minute, what am I thinking? Apple has invented, get ready for this, hold on to your seats. Are you sitting down? The Selfie. What? The slow motion selfie. So get ready, Instagram, all the influencers, they're all going to be doing their hair blowing in the wind in slow motion. The slow motion selfie is here. Woohoo, it's about time. How do we ever live without it? So there you go. There's something Apple's doing. There's 2 things Apple's doing that I don't think any other phone can do. The slow motion selfie. Okay, that's good. And recording from 2 lenses simultaneously. That's kind of interesting. I like that. If you load your iPhone 11 Pro Max, excuse me, I keep wanting to call it the iPhone 11 Flow Max, but I won't, I promise. The iPhone 11 Pro Max, if you load it up, is $1,449. Yikes. And now it comes in green. Oh, I have to have a green phone, said no one ever. But now it does. So take that, Android. Take that. You don't have a green phone. 8888 ask Leo. It's a little strange, I admit it. 888-827-5536 is toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. We welcome today our brand new musical director, Big Pee Wee, hands off the baton today. Yes, to Laura. Little Laura, I'm going to call her. I don't know if she's little. But I don't know if Pee Wee was big, so it really doesn't matter. Little Laura is now in charge of the music on the show. Woohoo! Welcome, Laura. 88. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Call me. Let's talk high tech. Ooh, we'll welcome back our Bally bride in a minute, too. We didn't think she'd come back, but she did. Schaffer's back. We thought we'll never see her again.
I couldn't stay.
Bali, so how was it?
Beautiful.
I saw, the video of the pool.
That was just the first place we stayed.
You stayed in many places?
We stayed in 2 places. We stayed in Ubud on Bali, and then we went to a little island called Nusa Limbagan, which was actually way prettier, and I'm glad we changed plans at the last minute and went there. Yeah.
Nusa Limbagan.
Nusa Limbagan.
Nusa Limbagan.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everybody should visit Nusa Limbagan.
Yep. And then you take a little yellow bridge over to Nusa. It starts with a C. Can't pronounce it. And
Nusa must mean island or something, right? Or
maybe.
Place. Or yeah. Oh, that's neat. How fun is that?
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, I'm sorry you had to come back.
No, I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, sometimes, it's true about vacation. It's like, okay, I've done it now.
Well, we live a very different life here.
It's a little faster paced.
Yes, but any mode of transportation over there is terrifying. I thought I was going to die every single day. Yeah.
Because they drive crazy?
They drive like maniacs. I don't think anybody really has a license. Anybody can be a taxi. Everybody's on a scooter, and the cars get right up on the...
Yeah.
I mean, I got out of the airport and went, what am I doing here?
This is crazy.
I am too civilized for this. So, yeah.
Okay, that's good. There should be one thing that makes you think, well, I'm glad I'm home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things.
Good. Well, we're glad you're back. We missed you. It was fun, though. Not only did we have...
Heather and Nicole.
We had Nicole, DJ.
You got to have...
But we also saw Heather again, which was fun.
Yep.
And Nicole did great.
Good.
So feel like you can, you can take vacation.
Feel like I could actually be sick every once
You can be sick once in a while. She seemed to enjoy it.
Yeah, she
Tried
had
not
a
to
great
terrify
time.
her with my petulant demands. This water is too cold. No, I didn't do that. It's good.
No, she works with really, really ancient equipment at the radio station she works with. So this
it's
is
fun
like
to
a
see
dream
modern
come true.
gear. Here we go. No, never mind.
Not
That's
yet.
more bells. More cowbell. Well, good. I missed you, so I'm glad you're back. Yeah.
Very happy to. I think the next vacation I go on is going to have to be a bit more luxury.
Really? It looked luxurious.
It's kind of roughing it.
Huh.
But yeah.
It looks so luxurious.
It's fascinating. There are no obese people over there because they work their butts off and eat very little.
Oh, really?
And nobody's disabled. Stairs are this high. Every stair you go up and down is this high.
Well, I'm sure there's disabled people, but you just
have
don't
to stay
see
in their
them. They
house.
stay home.
Yeah, their bedroom.
Yeah, see, this is where we have a little bit of better.
We have too many comforts.
We care.
The tropical paradise part was amazing. I've never seen, well, I have seen, because I've been to a few places like the
How's it
Bahamas.
compare to Hawaii?
I think the water's more beautiful than Hawaii.
Yeah.
Warmer, for sure.
Nice. I like warm water. Like a bathtub, though, right?
Like a bathtub,
That's maybe a little too warm.
The problem we had was the coral is everywhere, so you can't really even get in the water
that
unless
cuts
you've
your
got
feet.
the
You gotta have
water shoes.
water shoes, yeah.
So getting into the actual ocean was a challenge. But
So did you just sit on the sand and
sit on the sand,
enjoy
go in.
the
You could go to
breezes?
any bar, buy a beer, and get in their swimming pool.
Nice.
I mean, it was and I know I drank more beer than I did
think
water.
more bars in the United States should have
They
swimming pools.
should.
I think all bars should have a swimming pool. That's a great
I
idea.
agree, and
At least a hot tub.
it's so hot there that you want
You need a swimming
that
pool.
you need a swimming
Yeah,
pool.
it's a life-saving activity.
It is.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Who should I talk
happy to be
to
back.
here?
Terry in Southern California is having some major troubles with his Ring doorbell, including some time delay issues.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Terry.
Konnichiwa, Leo.
Konnichiwa.
I'm getting ready for my trip to Japan.
Oh, how fun.
I'm trying to practice my Japanese again.
Yes.
you
Arigato
and I-
gozaimasu. That's all. I just said that all the time. Thank you very much.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Gozaimasu. Yeah.
Yeah, it's enough to get you through because they're such friendly, polite people.
The language barrier's there, but they're just really. It's a sweet, very sweet culture. I really enjoy it. Well, good.
Yeah, it's not like going to some place where you can't understand what they're saying, like Scotland.
I'm talking English. You numbskull. That's English. It's the Queen's English.
Anyway, you and I are the same age, and we both worked in college radio way back in the previous century.
Oh, yes.
And I know I was, and I'm guessing that you were probably also influenced by a gentleman named Eddie Money, who unfortunately passed away yesterday.
Way too young. He was only
Way
70.
too young.
Yeah.
And God bless him, he saved my ears from the horrors of disco. And I want that to be a note to little Laura. No more disco music, please.
We have to play it for Dick DeBartolo, but that's the only time, I promise. It's just because Dick is a disco fool. But yeah, I know what you mean. Eddie bought his 2 tickets to Paradise, and he's on his way.
That's a sweet way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a suggestion of the day. I'd like everybody to go out tonight, look up at the full moon, and listen to "Wanna Be a Rock and Roll Star."
Oh, yeah, what a great song. Oh,
because, before Eddie Money, those of us who worked in college radio, we had to enunciate. We couldn't say words like "wanna."
Wanna.
Yeah, and God bless
So
Eddie
you
Money.
wanna be I love it.
Eddie Money, when he spoke in his normal voice, made everyone else sound like a Shakespearean scholar.
Yes. He was
a
man of the people. And
Anyway, to
way too
Techland.
young. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know. Last couple of weeks, matter of fact, I think it was last week, you were talking about basically everybody there in the studio has a Ring Video Doorbell.
Yeah, we were talking about the fact that when we're in meetings and it goes off, everybody pulls out their phone and figure out whose doorbell's ringing.
Well, and unfortunately, when mine goes off, it's just in time to see somebody walking away.
I know.
And I tried a Netgear Wi-Fi extender. That made no difference, so I returned it. I called up Ring, and they said, well, try another Wi-Fi extender.
Here's, in my opinion, here's the problem with the Ring. as a Ring owner, who, by the way, this morning disconnected his Ring, about to install a different doorbell. And I'll tell you why. So the Ring is not always on. And that's because of the heritage of the Ring. It was supposed to work with battery as well as a wired doorbell. But if you're on a wired doorbell, there's no reason it shouldn't be always on. There's enough power in most wired doorbells. The camera should always be on, in which case there would be no lag. But the Ring has to wake up. So what you'll notice, by the way, is if you open up the Ring, you look at it and then close it and then open it up again, there's no more lag. It's because the Ring is awake already. So that's my opinion, is it's the wake up thing. Try that as an experiment. I don't think it's your Wi-Fi. It's the Ring saying, oh, you want a picture, hold on, and waking up. So if you can open it up, wait that time, see the person, the UPS guy walking away, and then close it, wait a second or two, not too long because we don't want to go back to sleep, and then open it and see if it pops right up, that'll tell you that's what's going on, not the Wi-Fi. Now, the reason, and that's one of the reasons I'm trying out the newer Nest Hello Cam, which is also a video doorbell, because it's always on. And I think that will be the difference, but you're going to have to wait till next weekend for the answer, or maybe tomorrow, because I started to install it, and it's actually a much more complicated install than the Ring. The Ring was actually a fairly simple install. But the Hello requires you modify your doorbell chime as well as the doorbell. So I started it about an hour before I had to be here. I told my wife, we're not going to have a doorbell today, but I promise it will be fixed tonight. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So this was the caller was complaining about that too last week.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I literally just bought mine. Actually, the last time I talked to you was right before Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah.
I bought the Ring doorbell. So, I now have, and I had 4 screws in my door for mounting this thing, and then I found out I had to buy the wedge adapter. So now I have 6 holes in my door.
Oh, me too. And that's one reason I'm not happy about the Hello, because the Hello is much slimmer. And it's good.
I really don't want to have to resurface my entire
I'm going to have to spackle my doorbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. So, I don't know. I'm thinking one thing I would expect at some point is that Ring would update it. And I have the very first Ring, so you would.
That's what I have.
Okay. So there is a Ring Pro. Maybe that has less of a problem. I don't know.
I don't want to contribute more money to them. I mean, I literally only had this thing a month, so.
Yeah, I don't blame
you. But, as connecting, everything comes back to another thing. One of the things I loved about Japanese hotels, they had doorbells.
Oh, I know. There's so many things about Japan. It feels so civilized.
Well, Anthony Bourdain, when asked where would be the one place on earth you'd live, he said, without missing a beat, Tokyo.
Yeah.
And they said, why? And he says, because everything is laid out in a particular purpose. It's true.
Yeah.
And, and I don't think anybody's ever called into your show talking about their 21st century toilets.
I have a Toto washlet. In fact, I have 3 of
wonderful?
them. I bought one over my wife's kind of resistance. I bought one, and after a while, she said, "Okay, we need them everywhere."
Exactly.
She said, "Okay."
Do you have one with the heated seat?
Oh, we got the whole deal. Yeah.
Oh, music?
Yeah. No music.
No music. Okay.
That seems to be a Japanese public toilet thing.
Huh. Yeah, I think so.
Because you want it if you're in public, right? So. It does everything else. It's quite lovely. Lovely. I love it.
I know. When I first got home last year, I walked in my bathroom and I just looked at mine and I went, really? That's all you can do?
Yeah.
It was like a flip phone.
Yeah. I don't like to travel now as much, except if I'm going to Japan, because it's like it's weird, but to miss your toilet is weird, but I do.
Well, that would be a great topic for a future show when there's a complete lull in callers, I think.
Okay.
Hey,
okay. I don't want to gross people out, but okay.
Anyway, sayonara from Petaluma Avenue.
When are you going?
October 1st. Last year I left October 2nd.
Oh, you go every year?
No, this is, again, Bourdain said, when the first time you go to Japan, it's like taking LSD for the first time.
Yes.
You never see anything the same way thereafter.
Yes.
And I loved the country so much. I mean, I've been to Australia 5 times. That's the one place that
I also love Australia. Yeah.
really, really, really want to migrate to.
Yeah.
And depending upon what happens with the next election, I may finally pull the plug and do it.
I told Lisa, next November we're going to be out of the country, and we can decide at that time whether we're going back.
Or whether you'll be allowed back.
We may not be allowed back.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'll be allowed back. I'm a old white man. What better person to let back in the country?
Well,
I think I don't have to worry. Let's not get started.
I know. Especially since I'm talking to you from KFI AM.
I know.
I told you years ago, you're like the voice of reason on that station.
I try not to get too political, but hey, I got to run.
Okay, sayonara.
Sayonara. Have a great trip, Terry. Our podcast today brought to you by something I use all the time. Actually, it's funny because I am using it every time I bookmark a story. It's automatically going through a program that actually takes that story bookmark, tweets it, puts it in a spreadsheet for Karsten, does all these things automatically. I use Zapier. It's called a Zap. And Zapier is the way to connect your business software, your workflows, to automate the stuff that you do every day to make it simpler. They say if you do anything more than once, you should automate it. And Zapier is key. Don't waste hours every day moving data from emails to spreadsheets to your CRM or wherever you need it to go. It should just happen. And it does with Zapier. I'm such a Zapier fan. I've been a Zapier subscriber for 3-4 years, 5 years maybe. Zapier has over 1,500 apps it connects with. Everything you use in your business. It's the easiest way to automate your work. And one of the things I love about Zapier is it lets you have more. You can build longer chains of things. So I have it set up so if I favorite something in my newsreader or I bookmark it in Pinboard, it automatically gets tweeted to my Links to Twit account. But then it also automatically populates a spreadsheet of Leo. It's called Leo's Links that we share so that everybody I work with, my producers, can see which stories I want to cover. It automatically puts in the information in the different cells. It's so great. I have a Leo bot that I automate with Zapier. If you're using CRM software, you can use Zapier to engage leads instantly, automatically import new customers, notify your team about new opportunities. I mean, really, the sky's the limit. Send out emails. Because it does multi-step zaps, it's more customizable. You just can do so much with it. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, this is going to be hard or complicated. You'll see how easy and fun it is to make zaps. They make it easy. Build a solution you need in minutes. And just don't do that repetitive stuff. It makes life better, more creative. And also, it's more reliable because once it's automated, it happens every time automatically. Go to Zapier, that's Zapier.com/techguy. Connect the apps you use the most. Let Zapier take it from there. You don't have to write code. You don't have to ask a developer to help you. It's empowering, and you can totally do this. You'll think of 1,000 ways to use Zapier once you try it. More than 4.5 million people use Zapier, and they save on average of 40 hours a month. That's a full work week a month. Be more productive, work less, do more with Zapier, giving you more time to do what you love, like growing your business. Right now through November, you could try it free, but don't wait. Try it free at Zapier, Zapier, Zapier.com/techguy, 14-day free trial. But I warn you, you're going to start using it, and you will not be able to live without it. I mean, honestly, I love Zapier, and I have hundreds of zaps. That's what they call it, little programs. Because I think of new ones all the time. And it's fun. Zapier, Zapier, Zapier.com/techguy. We thank him so much for supporting the Tech Guy podcast. And folks, we thank you for using Zapier.com/techguy because that lets them know you heard it here. Zapier! Scotty!
Hey, Leo.
Here we go.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah, it's time once again. Ow! To bark. The bump to bump with the man, the myth, the home theater geek, Scott Wilkinson, contributor to Tech Hive. And you were at Cedia or Cedia.
I was at Cedia.
You say it Cedia or Cedia?
Cedia.
Cedia is a diacritical mark.
It's a diacritical mark, yes.
We should call it Cedia.
There is a little difference, yes.
CEDIA. What's that stand for?
Custom Electronics Design and Installation Association.
Oh, my. Are you one of those?
I am not an installer, no. But I do cover the industry, at least the part that has to do with home theater.
Right.
Audio and video. There's a lot more stuff at Cedia. There's security systems, and there's tons of IoT stuff. Centralized vacuum cleaners, even, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Anything for the custom-built home.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I would not have thought vacuum cleaners would be a big part of that.
Well,
but okay, that
central
makes sense.
vacuum cleaner.
Yeah,
you put a big giant thing in the middle of your house.
We have one. I never use it. We have one. It's the funniest thing. There's a vent in our kitchen on the floor.
Yeah.
That when you flip it up, it goes. It has like this massive suction. I couldn't figure out what is this for, and then I finally realized, I'm supposed to sweep crumbs into it.
Right.
You sweep.
Right.
And then you open that up, and it sucks everything.
Right, and there are also vents you can plug a hose.
And
into.
I have the hose, and I can plug in the hose. Well, I never use it, but
yeah, well,
Anyway,
there's all that stuff at Cedia. This year it was in Denver, and there was plenty of stuff for me to cover, more than I could in 2 days. I could only stay 2 days. It's a 3-day show. Used to be 4, and now it's 3, but I could only stay 2 because I actually have a gig today, so I had to come back for that. But saw a lot of interesting things. In particular, one of the things I wanted to mention is ultra short throw projectors that are meant as a replacement for TVs, for flat panel TVs. Now, you know something about this. You have the Hisense version of this in your home.
It's a short throw projector.
Right. It's a projector that's meant to be up very near to the wall. It shoots at a steep angle upward to a special kind of screen, and it looks like a big giant flat panel TV. And the screen rejects ambient light, so you can actually watch it in the light, with lights on or during the day, and it still looks pretty good. But that one, the Hisense, I listed for $10,000, as I recall.
Yes, I recall it too.
All too well.
All too well. But it was, we got it last year before the Super Bowl because I wanted, if people come over having a 100-inch screen.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a great room. So you can, you have a lot of people in the room and everybody can see it. And it's nice. I mean, it really is nice.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's not super, it's not as bright as a direct view, and it's not as rich. And, we have OLED screens in another room, and
right, but that's like what, a 55-inch or a 65-inch or something like that, and this is 100 inches, and it really makes a big difference.
I really like it.
Well, there were a couple at Cedia that I think are taking it to the next level. One was from Epson. Probably my favorite one was from Epson, the LS500, 4K.
Is it true 4K? No.
No.
None of these. No projector is true 4K yet.
Well, the Sony actual projectors, normal throw projectors, and even their ultra short throw, are true 4K.
Ah, okay. But until recently, that was.
And they're in the 5 figures.
Yeah,
they're very expensive.
Yeah, right. I want to point out that $10,000 is also in the 5 figures.
Well, true.
It's the very low 5 figures.
Yes. Well, the Sony ultra short throw is
mid
like $50,000 or so.
Mid 5, yeah.
Anyway, big 5, yeah, exactly. So the LS500 is what I call a pixel wiggler. So it takes a 1080p panel and shifts the pixels back and forth quickly and they make independent pixels. This thing is compatible with HDR, 4,000 lumen output, which is very high. Has speakers built in. This is interesting. It has a separate HDMI and USB port dedicated to plugging in a streamer, like a Roku stick or an Android stick.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah.
Which doesn't take up one of the two other HDMI inputs. So for your cable or satellite box or something else, gaming console.
That is sensible, because that's how people use TVs these days.
Very, very, very sensible. And they're going to offer an Epson branded Android stick.
Nice.
To go with it.
Nice.
And it comes with an ALR ambient light rejecting screen. If you get the 100-inch version, $5,000. 120-inch, $6,000. So right there, you're saving a lot.
Is it short throw?
Yes, very short throw.
What is this? The Epson LX?
LS.
S?
Larry Scott 500.
500. Boy, that's a really attractive
Leo Scott,
price.
I should have said.
Leo Scott, much better. Who's this Larry?
Yes.
So,
I don't know.
But let me, do I need a special screen? Because that was part of the cost. Oh, it comes for that price?
For that price.
Ooh.
Comes with. And I was very impressed with how it looked under the show. They had it right on the show floor. And, you know, a big convention hall with Klieg lights overhead. I mean, it's huge. Lots of light in there. And it looked really good.
Well, our sponsor, Epson, is again kicking it out of the park. That's really cool.
They really are. They really are.
Yeah.
They did a fantastic job with this. Now LG also had a second generation of their ultra short throw quote unquote TV replacement called the HU85LA, which is a single chip DLP. And by the way, the Epson and the LG both are laser illuminated.
That's good, because your bulbs don't burn out so fast.
Correct. It has a lifespan of tens of thousands of hours. So, yeah, you don't have to replace bulbs. And the LG does as well. It's also 4K with pixel wiggling. And it gets to 2,700 lumens, so it's not quite as bright.
I do want to say 4K on a screen that's that big and that far away from you, it's fine. I mean, you don't need that super high resolution unless you're. I think for direct view, it's different when you're sitting close to it, and you might notice that. But this is a big screen, so you're usually at a distance from it.
Well, yes, you could certainly be, but I think higher resolution is more important the larger the screen gets.
Well, that's true, because the pixels get bigger with the screen.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So the
I've
LG,
never seen any screen door effect on our Hisense at all. I mean, even if you get up close to it, you can't really see it.
Exactly. Now that thing is $6,000 without a screen.
Yikes!
So it's more expensive.
Did it look better than the Epson?
No, I thought the Epson looked of these TV replacement ultra short throw projectors. I thought the Epson looked the best.
It's priced right,
and it's really priced right. Yeah.
Do you think this is a trend that we'll see these prices on these projection?
Yes. Drop. Absolutely.
So that's just as every other TV. That's a good thing.
Yeah, just like every other TV technology, audio, video technology, digital technology, prices always drop.
And this has Android TV built into it, this LS500.
Yeah.
Wow. Neat.
Yeah. It will when it comes out. I think it's coming out in a couple of months.
They say first quarter 2020, and interestingly, through Magnolia and professional home theater installers. So this is like the Hisense, an installer comes out, because it's very tricky to calibrate the screen.
Although the Epson guy told me that he, you could end users could install it and it wouldn't take all that much work.
Okay.
So, we'll see.
Scott Wilkinson, you find more of this at techhive.com, where he writes regularly about audio and video and theater and review stuff. And of course, he joins us each week. Scott, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now you've just cost me some significant amount of money. Maybe. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, Scott.
Well.
That sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, it really is. Man. I didn't get to talk about, maybe I'll do this. Well, next week, actually, this coming Friday, I'm going to be up in San Jose looking at the LG 8K OLED.
Oh.
And so I'll talk about that next week.
Good. Well, you got a few minutes. Can you stay to the top too?
Unfortunately, I can't. I've
Okay.
got a gig.
Here you go.
I've got a gig I got to get.
He's gigging,
So, but
man.
I can stick around for now.
Here you go.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. Sorry I can't stick around to the end, but I'm going up to Ojai this afternoon to play at a wedding in my Balkan brass band. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be hot up there, though. I'm a little unhappy about that. Anyway, the other thing I had hoped to talk about, but of course time always gets away, is direct view LEDs. So micro LED walls. And we saw several at CEDIA that were really, really good. Of course, those are in the six figures. Or in the case of the Sony, we've seen the Sony Crystal LED before. But the 4K version, which is 16 feet by 9 feet, is $1 million. $1 million makes me think of Austin Powers there. But yeah, that is so expensive. The other ones I saw, there was one from Digital Projection that's in the $300,000 to $450,000 range. Layard, which is a part of a company overview called Planar. They also have Runco now. Their 4K starts in the $120,000 range, goes up to $500,000. Samsung has the wall, of course, but they do not say how much. I asked them, they said, nope, we do not publish prices. So I guess it really is, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. So anyway, those were a couple other things. There's a bunch of stuff there at CEDIA that were really cool. I'm going to be writing about it. I'll be posting an article later this week on TechHive with all of my findings. So I hope you go check it out. Tech in San Diego. Did I get a chance to see the podcast video I sent you of what happens when a little girl gives a street musician a coin in his hat? No, I haven't seen that. Lumpy says, my picture and sound were in sync today. Yay. Scooter X. Pretty hot in Ojai today. Yeah, damn. Yeah, Loquacious is very good. Playing great music will make the heat less noticeable. Well, yeah. We're promised we will be in the shade, and I sure hope so. The wedding's at 4:00, and we're playing a little before the wedding and a little after the wedding. And but we're also playing a processional in which we're actually going to have to play and walk, not march, fortunately, from one location to another. So I hope I don't die of the heat from that. Keith, 43. How about these $60 projectors you see on Amazon that are going to give me a picture I can actually see? Geez, a $60 projector? I wouldn't trust that.
Super high res. I have some of those cheap, like the Nebula, the Anchor Nebula. They're okay. They're like for going camping and stuff.
Yeah.
Scott, have a great gig. Where are you playing?
Up in Ojai. We're playing a wedding.
Have fun.
Up in Ojai with Serbian music.
Oh,
it's going to be great fun. It's going to be great fun.
Have a great time.
Thanks. See you next week.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. Lex in Richmond, Virginia is next. Hi, Lex.
Hello, Leo. Greetings from the right coast.
Yes, Richmond's beautiful.
Thank you. I have what may be one of the best mysteries you've handled about smartphones in a couple of years.
I love these mysteries. I can't promise an answer, but I love hearing the mysteries and
well, thanks.
wrapping our brain around them. Yeah.
This one befuddles not only us, but the provider, too. My wife and I have identical international Samsung S8s that have worked in the U.S. for about 3 years. We live in Richmond. We go to D.C. to visit family, and her phone stops taking and making phone calls. We're both on Android 9. We're on the same AT&T plan.
It's hardware. It's nothing else. So you said something that really is the giveaway, which is international Samsungs. When you buy smartphones and you buy it from your carrier or you buy it, in the U.S., you're going to generally have the radios that carrier supports. Right. Each carrier supports different radios, both for data and for phones, different frequencies, and it is completely possible to buy a phone if you buy an international phone. And by the way, it's not just international. Samsung has them for the Middle East. They have them for Europe. They have them for Asia. So what you need to do is go into the phone about this phone and get the exact model of that phone.
Right.
And then you can go somewhere like GSM Arena. This is what I use, gsmarena.com, and enter that model number. And it'll tell you what you need is somewhere that'll tell you which radios that phone supports.
All right. I've sort of been down that road, but to me the biggest puzzle is that we have identical phones, and mine works there, and hers works in New York City, works in Atlanta.
Well, see if your phones really are identical. Go into that About section.
Okay.
Because you may where'd you get them?
It was through the Marriott Hotels Awards program.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It should be usable for U.S. users and has been for 3 years.
You might have the EM. Yeah, but you said it's international. So that's the thing about Samsung, especially about Samsung, because they are a global seller. They're the #1 phone seller in the world, and they're global. So they have many different models, and each one may have different radio configurations. This is less of a problem as time goes by. Everything will be... even the voice will be LTE. It may be a configuration issue. Yours may work because you've turned on something like VoLTE, V-O-L-T-E, voice over LTE. If that's the case and hers is not, then yours might work even though your phone radio is not compatible.
Okay.
So that's another thing to check in the settings. VoLTE is actually great. If your carrier supports it, I always turn it on because the quality is better. It's actually a higher bit rate, so the sound is better. Just like, by the way, voice over Wi-Fi. And most carriers now offer Wi-Fi calling. In fact, they love it because it means you're not on their network. You're using your own bandwidth. So turning on those features might make a difference as well. But I think I would start by looking at what radios are in that phone. And hers may, Marriott may have bought 100 in Beirut and 100 in South Korea. You don't know what they got.
Well, ours were born in the Caribbean. We learned that talking to Samsung.
There you go. Right there. That's an issue. Yeah, because they have different radios.
But they've worked fine for 3 years everywhere, including D.C.
So hers worked and then stopped working?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
June. We've been up there 6 times since June. Failure each time.
So it's still possible because it may be that in D.C., who's your carrier?
AT&T prepaid.
That may be that AT&T and especially on prepaid. By the way, you get different features on prepaid.
Right.
So it might be that in D.C. they turned off those towers. This happens all the time. It's so transparent. Most people aren't aware of it, and it doesn't impact you. But that's because most people buy their phone from the carrier, and that's, they're going to support that. So when you get an international phone or a phone that is not from the carrier, it always would be worth checking I'm surprised actually the AT&T rep didn't ask you about that. But again, this is so unusual. It's not unusual for me because for years I've bought phones, unlocked phones, from a variety of international sources. Sometimes that was the best way to get a phone.
If we replace it, will we expect our GSM phones to work okay overseas if we get a phone that's dedicated to the U.S.?
Absolutely. So this is what's happening. It used to be you investigate. Do I have CDMA or GSM? GSM is more used worldwide. All of that stuff's gone away. It was Sprint and Verizon or CDMA, and they still have CDMA routes, so there sometimes are compatibility issues. AT&T and T-Mobile work everywhere. They're GSM. But most every carrier in the world is switching over to voice over LTE, everything over LTE. That's a data signal, but it can do everything, including voice. And once that transition happens, any phone that supports LTE should work everywhere.
Okay. Well, at 175 pounds, I'm your biggest East Coast fan.
Hey, I really appreciate the call. I love Virginia. Next time I'm out there, I'll wave as we go by Richmond. It's great.
Thank you so much,
to talk to you. Yeah, this is a weird kind of thing. I'm glad you asked, and I may not have given you the right answer, but as soon as I hear international phone, I know that there's potential issues. For instance, your data speeds may be different. In fact, T-Mobile is crowing over the new iPhone because the new iPhone has a new radio in it. This is something so inside baseball. Apple doesn't talk about this on stage. T-Mobile, I guess, does because it has a 600 megahertz radio. And T-Mobile has new 600 megahertz transmitters. And they're very excited that if you buy the new iPhone, you'll be able to use those signals. 600 the smaller the number, the better. 600 megahertz goes through walls. It's relatively low frequency. It's not in the gigahertz range. So it is the kind of signal you want for a smartphone because you can use it in a building. Some people are saying that check your APN. That APN is for data, but it could be that if the APN settings are different in each phone, that it's called the access point name, and it's usually just data. So it's conceivable, though, especially if you have it set for VoLTE, that the APN is critical. So go in there and look at her APN settings and make sure the network identifier and the operator identifier match yours. So it will look, something like internet.att.com, something like that. And you can actually go online and figure out what the proper APN settings are for an AT&T phone. Sometimes that's relevant. It doesn't sound like, since she's getting data, she's just not getting voice. It sounds more like it's a radio issue. So it's a very interesting conundrum. And again, this is one that a well-trained tech support person should absolutely be able to solve for you. It kind of stuns me that they were baffled by this. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. 8888 Ask Leo. Give you more throw more numbers at you. Sorry. Website, no numbers here. TechGuyLabs.com. And this is a good thing to remember because it's free. There's no subscription. There's not even any sign up. You just wander in. And everything you need is there, not just the phone number. You can see that there if you forget it, but links to our chat room, and most importantly, all the data from the show. So as I'm talking, James DeRuvo is writing it down, putting it on the website. So if I mention something, the links are there. There's also audio and video from the show after the fact. You have video too. So you can go look at old shows too. TechGuyLabs.com. Our show today brought to you by Grammarly. I wish I had Grammarly on the spoken word. I got to get Grammarly to work on that. That's really where I need grammar help. Grammarly helps your writing be not only more grammatical, but just clearer, more concise, more effective. I think that's important to say because with the name Grammarly, you might think, well, it's a grammar checker. Oh, no. I mean, the free version is a excellent spelling and grammar checker. But Grammarly Premium goes well beyond that. It's a communication tool that helps you write more clearly, more effectively. It gives you readability scores. So you know if you're writing a blog post, that's got a different audience than, say, an academic essay, than a resume, than an email to a client. All of those have different styles, different readability scores, and Grammarly helps you do it right for the purpose. Even people, I think my grammar is pretty good, and yet I still love and use Grammarly because you want to put your best foot forward, especially when you're writing to clients or you're creating a resume. If it's the first contact you have with somebody, you want to make sure you're not making any dumb mistakes or even smart mistakes. Grammarly helps you show your best self in your writing. And it works everywhere you do. There's browser extensions. There's a desktop editor. There's even a mobile keyboard for your iOS or your Android device. Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, Android, Windows, Mac, iOS. No matter what you're using, Grammarly's there. And Grammarly Premium does so many smart things. Advanced punctuation. It looks at structure. It looks at style within the context of what you're writing. You'll get great vocabulary suggestions. It helps you be more concise. It even helps you be more pleasant sometimes. Sometimes I write brusquely, just because I'm in a hurry. And then Grammarly says, you might want to say please. Nice. Good suggestion. Thank you. It's a little different. If my wife's looking over my shoulder and says that, that's going to be, no, I don't. But if Grammarly says it, oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Accomplish your goals with help from Grammarly. Stop making email typos on your phone. Close more deals at work this year with your emails. Polish your resume to get that new job. You could take that signature line out of your, I see this so often. Please excuse any typos or grammatical areas. I'm doing this on my phone. Yeah, you take that out. Grammarly is Grammarly, Grammarly.com/techguy. Will get you 20% off your Grammarly premium account today, and that's a great deal. I love Grammarly. I even love that when you got an email that's perfect and you get a little bonus on the right, it says, "Nice job, well done." And the weekly email saying, you used a lot of big words. That's great. It makes you feel good. Grammarly.com/techguy, 20% off your Grammarly premium account today. I love Grammarly. Thank you for supporting the Tech Guy. Now, just can you work on one that helps me be more grammatical in my spoken word? That's hard. Grammarly. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. The phone number, 888-827-5536. Mike B in our chat room talking about the slow response from the Ring Video Doorbell. I love these, by the way, video doorbells. I don't want to live without them anymore. I've been using the Ring for years. And it's really nice to be able to see who's at your door. But it is an issue if the doorbell takes a while to wake up and all you see is somebody leaving. The ideal with the Ring Video Doorbell is that when the doorbell rings, you, even if you're not home, you fire up the Ring app because you hear the notification. And while the person's standing there, say, "Oh, hi, I'm not here right now, but please leave the package," or "Can I help you?" or that kind of thing. And honestly, I just assumed this is an issue with the Ring in general, is this lag, because it's not always on. It's one of those cameras that is only on when you turn it on, when you say, "What?" And that lag, to me, seemed pretty normal. Mike says there is a device health check you can run in the app. And then you should also look at something he calls the RSSI level and from the app. Get a device health report. So you can. I imagine he probably did that because remember he said he was on the line with Ring and did a few things, including changing his Wi-Fi access point. Let me ask you, Mike, if he's in the chat room right now, if he's listening. Does your Ring when somebody rings your doorbell and you go and you turn on the camera? Is it responsive, or is there a little lag? Are you always able to talk? I don't think there's enough lag that people walk away in most cases. UPS people aren't, they ring the doorbell and leave, so I don't usually see that. There's a slight delay. So I guess it depends on what is an acceptable delay. There's always a slight delay, and that's been my experience as well. It's not instantaneous. The device wakes up. It's not always on. That's why I'm going to install, and I'll let you know. I'll report back, install one of the new Nest Hello doorbells. Same idea, but it's a camera that's always on, like the Nest Cam. That has some drawbacks, too. I mean, he's using bandwidth all the time, right? So that's, there's some disadvantages to that, but you can go back in time, look at recordings. And so that's nice. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Joey in San Diego. Hello, Joey.
Hey, Lee, how you doing, bro?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, good, man. I always love talking to you, man.
Oh, thank you. It's nice.
Hey, Leo, does Linux have a built-in VPN?
No, but there are VPN choices for Linux, including commercial VPNs. The thing about a VPN is it's not just the software on your end. You need a provider. You need a VPN server to log into. Are you asking whether Linux has a built-in VPN server, or are you asking whether it has a built-in VPN client?
I just want to put a VPN on it.
Yeah, but it depends on what you want to do. So
I'm just at my home. I'm not in a...
Yeah, so VPN has two parts. It has a client and a server. The client is software you would run on a device that hooks up, that connects to a VPN server somewhere out there in the world. And that then in traffic between you, the client, and the server is encrypted. And then you have to, because you can't use the internet encrypted, you have to enter the real world. So then you go out into the real world from the server on out. And so you can run your own VPN server. In fact, a lot of routers have VPN servers built in. Sometimes the reason people don't want to do that depends why you're using a VPN. If you're using a VPN server that's at your home, then your ISP sees every bit of traffic coming out of it, right? Because it's no longer encrypted. They don't see traffic going into it, but they see the traffic coming out of it. But if you use a VPN server from a commercial entity, then they see your data, right? They're the ones that are hosting it. So they, and there's an advantage there because you could put your VPN server at other geographic locations. So sometimes people use VPNs to get around geographic restrictions on content, to watch the BBC, for instance. So to do that, you'd need a VPN server in the UK. So absolutely, you can get both VPN client and server stuff to run on Linux. Whether it's built in would depend probably on which distribution you're using. Most of the distributions I use do not have a built-in VPN client or server.
Sure.
But the thing I would do, one of the most useful documentation pages for Linux users is from a version of Linux called Arch. And even if you're not using Arch, that's fine. Because the Arch Wiki is so well designed that a lot of people turn to it for answers. So you can go to the Arch Linux Wiki, which is wiki.archlinux.org, or even Google Arch Wiki and VPN, and there's a whole page on VPN providers, VPN software, VPN clients, and VPN servers that will run on Linux. So you can see all the choices you have. And, you know, whether it comes with Linux or not doesn't really matter. Not in the same way with like when you said, well, it comes with Windows or not. Linux is really is very modular. It's designed to be extended. So if it doesn't come with your Linux, no big deal. You just extend it by adding VPN software. And then running a VPN server on a Linux box is a little tricky because you have to open ports and stuff like that.
Right. So, Leo, let me ask you another quick.
Sure.
How do you find stuff to download on Unix?
Oh man. Well, this depends. Now, my favorite version of Linux these days, and this is one of the reasons it's my favorite, is something called Pop! OS. P-O-P-O-S. It's from a company called System 76. It's based on Ubuntu, which is based on Debian. So it has all the advantages of that.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on my next.
I love Pop! OS. So Ubuntu, Debian, and Pop! OS all have an app designed for installing software. Pop! OS has the Pop! OS store. Don't be fooled by the name. It isn't really a store, but it's designed to look like the App Store on Macintosh or the App Store on Windows, so that it's I think, very nicely done. If you go into the Pop! Store on your, or I guess they call it the Pop! Shop, which is even better. If you go into Pop! Shop, which does come installed with your Pop! OS, you'll see all the stuff you have installed. That's where you'll do your updates. But also, you'll see a very nice kind of App Store style interface that has picks, it has categories. So if you say, well, I'm looking for a music player, you can go to audio and you can just look at a listing of hundreds of audio players with descriptions and a very simple install button. So they do this to make it comfortable for people who are coming from commercial operating systems like Windows and Macintosh, so that they go, oh, I get it. It's just it's the App Store. But honestly, it's perfectly reasonable. In fact, it's typical what I will do. If I have a capability I need, I will either go to the Arch Linux Wiki or I'll just Google Linux and the capability I want. And there are, right now, for Debian, which is the base version of Linux that both Ubuntu and Pop! OS use, there are 50,000 applications. So it's a kind of an endless list of applications. There is nothing you can do in Windows or Macintosh that there isn't an analogous application for. You may not find Photoshop on Linux, because Adobe never wrote it for Linux, but you'll find 10 Photoshop-like applications, like Darktable and the GIMP. I mean, you'll find really powerful tools. So Linux is a different mindset. It's a free operating system. It's kept up to date by volunteers and enthusiasts and a few companies that have decided to kind of support it. It is a very different world. It works a little differently. But once you start using it, and if you just install Pop! OS on a leftover PC that you're not, not worried about, I think you'll find it's very familiar. The metaphors for, graphic interfaces are pretty well known. Windows, and you close a window and you maximize a window and you drag it around. All of these things will feel very comfortable to you. So the biggest shift for Linux users is, Microsoft Office isn't available or Photoshop isn't available. So you have to start looking at applications that are. But in every case, there are very good and almost always free choices. LibreOffice, Libre Office, is, in my opinion, every bit as good as Microsoft Office, with nearly all the capabilities, including the ability to read and write Microsoft Office documents. And it's free. So you won't feel, I don't think you'll feel limited. I think it's just a new world. It's a bizarro Windows. It's a slightly different world, and that takes a little getting used to. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. That's the number to call if you want to talk high tech. I want to talk high tech with you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hello, Ragios. Welcome. Good to see you. You weren't supposed to get in today because our guard is not here, but John is a softie. Colleen's even softer. Come on in. Welcome. Good to meet you, Bill. You don't have to. Oh, hi, Gia. Nice to meet you. Vince. So they're visiting you? Yep. Nice. And are you studying wine?
Biology and economics.
Nice. Double major, yeah. You must be very smart. Either one of those would be too much for me alone. Nice. And is Bill, are you the fan and you dragged your family?
He's the fan.
Yeah.
We're listening to you on the way in.
Yeah, he says, you're going to love this. It's so great. He just talks about geeky stuff all day. Oh, I'm sorry, Gia. I'm sorry. Well, welcome. Nice to have you. Thanks for coming. And if you feel like running out of here, anytime, don't worry. You don't even have to wait till I'm not talking. You can just tiptoe out. There's coffee and snacks if you get hungry or thirsty. There's water. You're welcome to anything that's out there.
We're actually going to Lagunitas.
Oh, now Bill's happy. Actually, Vincent's happy. My son and I go there for lunch every Thursday.
Oh, is there something you recommend we're going to eat there?
It's bar food, but I always get the petaluma salad, which is a nice kind of keto salad. I'm a big keto salad guy. The wings are very good there. It's all good. It's got good food. They used to have their own cows. They used to have their own steers out back that they would feed the leftover mash and stuff. And so they used to have really good beef. I think they still do have very good beef. So the hamburgers and stuff are really good. But the beer is why you go there. Because you're getting it straight from the source. And I always get, I think they're out of it now, hop water, which is non-alcoholic. It's just water. But it's got hop flavor. It's really delicious. And then there's a low-carb beer they have called Daytime that's really good. That's what I drink. Yeah. Are you keto?
Well, I tried to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's been great for me. So if I have a beer there, I'll have that. It's only 3 carbs. It's great. And it doesn't taste like a light beer. It's good. But then if you really like beer, there's stuff you can only get there, and it's really good, and it's really fresh. And yeah, I love it.
So you're pre-recording shows today?
After this, if you want to go to Lagunitas and come back and watch me do security now, you can. I'm going to do security now. Normally, we're trying to get ahead because I'm going away in October. But we're going on a 3-week cruise to the Middle East. So we start in Athens. Then we sail to Jerusalem, and we're going to get off the boat and spend a couple of nights in Jerusalem because I'm really excited about that. And then we go to Petra, Jordan, and we go to the pyramids. We go through the Suez Canal, down the Red Sea, and we end up in Dubai. So it's going to be really, I know, I'm so excited. Tickets came in the mail on Friday. Now it's real. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I love rock and roll too. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Scott in Orange County. Hi, Scott.
Leo, how's it going?
It's great. How are you?
I just got back from Disneyland.
Oh, today?
Yeah, I get up at 6:30 and I walk 10 miles and come home.
Do you go in or you just walk there and come back?
No, I go in. I got a pass.
Oh, so you go there before anybody's there, before it's hot? Are the lines real short?
Today was kind of busy, but it's been short since they opened that Star Wars Edge of Galaxy.
You know, somebody told me that nobody was going to that Star Wars thing because they all thought it was too crowded, so you can walk right in.
Yeah, that's been the case.
So that's amazing. Don't tell anybody. That's our little secret.
Well,
So you walk there, you go 10 miles, you get a nice exercise, and what do? You go in the door, or what do you go straight to the Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, well, yeah, sometimes. But if I'm on the other side, I'll do a Soarin' and Guardians.
You
and
do
a
Soarin'? That's that crazy roller coaster, right?
No, Incredible.
Oh.
The roller coaster.
Oh.
Soarin's the one where you're in the hang glider.
Oh, I love that one. They still have that one in the California Adventure? That's fun. It's
Yeah.
virtual reality hang gliding, and it's very nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The that crazy roller coaster, though, I don't like. That's weird. It's like a rail gun.
Right. It is like a rail gun. That's a good analogy.
It's exactly how it works. It's using magnetic acceleration. You get up to like 90 miles an hour in the first second. It's nuts. I remember taking my son there years ago when it first opened, and he got off and his hair was standing straight on end. He's told me since, this is like 10 years ago, he's told me since, yeah, that was really scary. He wouldn't tell me at the time. He said, I don't like it. What can I do for you?
Sometimes we do it 3 times in a row, but I get all dizzy. So
I don't think your brain was made for that.
Yeah. So I've had iPhones forever since the beginning, and this new 11 Pro, I watched the whole thing, and man, I've shot 65 half-an-hour shows with my iPhone. And
don't you like this thing they showed? I've never seen anybody do it where you could shoot through two lenses simultaneously.
Yeah.
So you could have a close-up and a wide shot, or the one I really like, because I do a lot of interviews, I want to take this to CES, is it'll shoot you with the selfie cam and then shoot the person you're talking to, and you've got both videos, and you can intercut them.
Oh, yeah.
Is that awesome?
So I went to the ArcLight Theater Cinerama Dome like about 4 years ago, and they had a big spread. They showed you the guys that did Focus with Will Smith. They were showing you how they use Final Cut, and they would have 3 cameras on one pair of sticks. You know, short, close, medium, and far away.
Just like the iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this is. I mean, when you're working in TV, if they get cheap, they say, no, you can only do 1 camera on this shoot. Oh, man, come on. Can I have 2? No, you can only have 1. If you have 2, you'll have 1 camera pointed at you, 1 camera pointed at your subject. If you have 1, it's so annoying. You interview somebody, they get all his answers. Then you can say, thank you very much for your time. They turn the camera around, and you have to pretend to be interested.
Right.
Nod. Maybe ask a couple of questions again, rub your chin, and then they use that. It's so fake. It's so phony. It's so annoying. So this solves that whole thing. This is, by the way, this is something nobody else cares about, but you and I care about it.
Well, you know, if people want to, like, I made a 3-hour documentary on my iPhone at Disneyland last year.
Wow.
I narrated every shot.
Can I see it? Is it on YouTube? Where is it?
That's a good question. I should, I could probably send you the link.
It's just sitting on your phone?
I looked, but I had it edited by the time I left Disneyland at the end of the day. It was done.
You were exhausted. Well, so you're editing on the phone?
Yeah.
Amazing. Honestly, this is what's happened is these new phones are so fast and so powerful. The fact that you could shoot 2 streams at one time is one thing, but you can then edit it as you go. You got a 10-mile walk home, plenty of time to get it all edited up.
Click. The guys that did
just
that
do me a favor. Look up when you get to the crosswalk and make sure it's safe when you're going across the street.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Last thing, the guys that did that Focus, with Will Smith, they showed 4 different versions of that movie. You know, when people come in and they make their comments and help you out. They showed 4 versions of the same movie and then blended it based on the comments of people who got to see the preview movie.
See, I'm not sure I like that. I'm a believer. By the way, that film didn't do all that well.
I know.
I'm a believer in artistic vision. They sometimes in film they call it the Auteur Theory. The auteur is the author, and I believe in a great director having a great vision and just doing it, not testing it, not saying to the focus group, well, what do you think? Should this end this way or that way? And I think that's to some degree the death of creativity in movies and everything is over testing. Just have a belief in what you're doing. No one has ever tested this show, and I'm sure if we ever did. Now, when Leo answers a question, do you think, show of hands here, he should, I don't want that. I'm just going to do what I do, and if you like it, good. If you don't, fire me.
Rob Reiner was sitting right behind me in one of those focus group things, where you're sitting in the
What did
movie
he say?
theater.
Yeah.
He was so nervous. I could feel him because in comedies it helps to see that in front of the audience. Are they
Sure.
laughing?
Any comedian worth their salt got their start playing for an audience. You got to learn, of course.
The guy was just almost shaking. He was so nervous.
Oh, poor Rob.
It was the first time.
It's the studio makes him do this, right? They make you do this, and I bet you probably prefer not to. It is nerve-wracking,
right?
But what I find interesting is what you told me, which is that they can shoot multiple versions of it. And then ask, and in editing, they can modify the film. Doesn't necessarily make it a more successful film, as Focus and Will Smith learned. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls coming up. Actually, Johnny Jett coming up. Hello, Johnny.
Hello, Leo. How you doing?
I am well. How are things in, don't tell me, Huntington Beach?
Nope. Close.
One of them beaches.
About 30 minutes away.
I don't want to give away your secret location. How are things?
By LAX. I'm closer to LAX.
I'm in Joliet Prison, so.
You're in where?
That's my mug says, Joliet Prison. I like it. I got a prison mug. I also have one from Alcatraz. I collect them,
Do you really?
No.
Now that is interesting. I mean,
that would be a good idea, though.
My dad collects shot glasses, so he has literally. Well, they're in a closet right now, but he had a shelf full of them because I would buy them for him around the world.
If this were a real prison mug, it would be made of tin, however, not of ceramic. Right?
I would think so.
Yeah, my Alcatraz mug is tin. Yeah.
I haven't been to prison, so fortunately.
Well, one thing you can't have in prison is a knife and fork. So when you eat, you always eat with a spoon. So I think that'd be fun, collecting spoons from your various jail stays.
But the backside of the spoon can cause some damage, too.
Yeah, it can turn anything to a shank if you're ingenious enough.
Yeah.
So how's Olivia Grace?
That's on the opposite of my bucket list.
Not to go to prison. Yeah, we should. Yeah. What would be a non-bucket list? Like we call it
with an F list, but we don't say it on the air.
The things I don't want to do. Collect spoons from my prison
Skydiving
stays. Skydiving on my not bucket list, too.
Actually, Travel Weekly just did a story, and I was at a conference in Vegas a few weeks ago, and the editor, we're in a program, and they're talking about all these things for bucket list, and I go, that's on my other list,
my F list.
He's like, can I make a story about that? I go, of course. So we just started saying all these different places.
Is it online?
Yeah, if you probably, it's definitely online. I got a Google alert a few weeks ago, but anyway.
Nice.
The only thing he put up mine was he interviewed some big-time travelers.
Well, you're a big-time traveler.
Yeah, but I'm talking like Paul Thoreau and like real big time.
All right.
But anyway, my main thing was skydiving. I have no desire to do it.
None.
And do you?
No. You know who has skydived and wants to do it again?
Lisa.
My lovely wife. Yes.
Figured. Yeah, she is wild and crazy.
She's an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, I just don't have a desire.
Me neither. Why would you jump out of a perfectly functional plane?
And bungee jumping, I'm not. I don't really have a desire either.
No, I know too many people have been injured bungee jumping.
Yep. Especially, I went
falling.
to one in South Africa. It was insane. My hands were sweating just looking at them. The one in South Africa, which used to be the tallest in the world. I don't think it is anymore, but. Anyway, so which airline you flying, by the way, to the
Oh, this is fun. I just realized. I looked at my tickets. So we're going around the world. So we're going to Athens via Lufthansa. So Lufthansa to Munich to Athens.
Munich. You going to Munich, not Frankfurt?
Yeah, Munich.
Okay, good.
I know. I prefer that. That's great. Schiphol's great, but anyway. So
Schiphol's Amsterdam.
Oh, that's right, Amsterdam. I've been to Frankfurt many times too. Anyway, Lufthansa to Munich, weirdly, and then Munich to Athens. And then with the boat, takes you to Dubai. Then we're taking Cathay Pacific from Dubai to Hong Kong.
Nice.
And then Hong Kong to San Francisco.
And please tell me you're stopping in Hong Kong for
2 hours. I wish I could. You know what? I should see if I could extend it. Extend it for a day or two.
They will definitely let you, because Hong Kong is hurting right now, and you'll get some good deals.
I'll ask my travel agent. Jane's probably listening. Jane, that'd be interesting. Definitely. If you spend 2 days in Hong Kong. I mean, we're there. Why not?
You got to do it. It will break up the trip. It will be so much more enjoyable, and plus you get to go to Hong Kong, one of the best cities in the world. Yeah. So this week, actually, the Proud Bird, which is kind of In-N-Out's competitor in terms of flight spotting, plane spotting. And they just redid their backyard, and it's great. Actually, I told Cranky that he should do it there next year, or the Flight Path Museum, which a lot of people don't know about the Flight Path Museum, which is a private museum right on the LAX's tarmac. And they're actually having their annual gala October 3rd. So if anyone's a big-time aviation geek, you can have dinner on the tarmac. And I think it's $100, and I'll be there. Actually, they asked me to be the MC, but
It sounds so romantic. Dinner on the tarmac.
You know what? I'm actually looking forward to this one. This will be fun.
But if you like planes, do the jets come in over your head?
No, they don't go over your head, but you have you're parallel to the runway. Anytime there's a big event, like when Emirates brought the first A380 to LAX, they had the party at the Flight Path Museum. They had Buzz Aldrin. When Qantas did their A380, they had John Travolta flying it, and you get to go.
That's right. He's a pilot. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, he didn't fly the A380, but he got on the PA.
Is he qualified to fly the A380?
I asked him that, and he told me something in private that I can't actually repeat.
Oh, okay.
But he's not qualified.
No, he's not qualified, but he's done it. That's going to be my guess. All right, but we don't want to talk about that because this is fun. So you don't really have to go anywhere to be like, if you're a flight fan, there's lots of things you could do apparently at LAX.
Without a doubt.
Nice.
And I mean, pretty much anywhere in any major city in the world, there's always something to do. You can do some kind of staycation, even just going across town.
Have they put a restaurant back in that LAX spaceship? It's still empty?
They have not.
Oh, I love that.
They're actually talking about possibly making it a hotel, because they did at JFK. They just did the TWA hotel.
Yeah, make that a TWA hotel. That'd be great.
Well, it wouldn't be TWA, but it would be
Pan Am. What other dead airline could you use?
Yeah. You never know. Speaking of dead airlines, by the way, WOW Airlines, which was the Icelandic low-fare carrier that went under a few months ago, is now just announced they're reviving. And
No. You stranded people in Reykjavik. I know. No.
But supposedly, so anyway, that's something to consider, although I would stay away from them, but it's in the news now. So
I saw Spirit finally getting a little heat for their they're being class action, I think, for their baggage policy, where you have to pay even for a carry-on.
Because they don't disclose it, and that's the problem. They should disclose it on their website when you book. So when people show up to the
plenty of people who say, "Look, I want to save money. I'm not going to bring any baggage at all." That's fine, but you should be told it's going to cost you $30 or what? What is it? $30 to carry on?
I'm not sure. Actually, no. Sometimes it's $60. It'd be $60 at the gate.
They're also putting more seat legroom in there, I understand.
The middle seat on Spirit is actually going to have 1 extra inch of legroom, not legroom, of width. So
good.
To make the middle seat more appealing, which I like.
Lisa, for some reason, and I don't think she knew what she was doing, to save money on a flight. Fortunately, it was a short flight. I think it was to Las Vegas. Booked Spirit, and I'm not a tall guy. My knees were at my neck. I couldn't. It was so uncomfortable.
They have 28 inches of pitch, which is the least amount you can have
legally.
But your
femur is longer than that, folks.
For cheap. So if you ever do fly Spirit, which I never have, but get the big seat up front, because it's still low. Everything's a la carte, but you have a much bigger seat, and it's not that much more expensive.
We're going to Boston next month on Mint, which I like, on JetBlue's Mint.
That you will love.
I like Mint.
First class, and right when you get on the plane, they serve you a mint drink, and the flight attendants are amazing on there. Actually, I just wrote a post today because American Airlines just tweeted yesterday that they were just awarded 5-star airline by Apex, and I just wrote that as a joke because they are not a 5-star airline. Even their own people would tell you that. So anyway,
what's a 5-star? What's in your opinion? Is Singapore? Probably Singapore's a 5-star.
Yeah, Singapore definitely. Cathay is one of them.
We're flying Cathay in November.
Emirates, Qatar.
I've been on Emirates. I've been on a business class to Dubai on Emirates. It's you feel like you're riding in a Jaguar. It's all wood paneling.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a whole other story. But my tip, by the way, if you are flying a low-cost carrier like Spirit, always do your research in advance. Make sure you know what's included, what's not. Because, again, some of them will not allow you to bring a carry-on for free unless it's a purse that you can put underneath the seat in front of you. You can't use the overhead bin. So always double-check.
What about my companion emu? Can I bring that?
Well,
do I have to buy a seat for it?
They just have miniature horse fly.
I saw a miniature horse. But that's okay. I mean, I have no problem with that.
That's okay? They are trained. They're trained. Miniature horses, I believe, are trained as.
Did she bring it on an airplane?
Yeah, she brought it on a flight from Omaha, I think, to Chicago. But my problem are dogs that bite. That's a problem. That is my problem. My son has almost been bitten by one on a plane.
Companion animals should be very calm.
They should be. They should be trained.
Service animals are highly trained.
You know when they're service animals or not. But
people can buy a little vest. You can mail order a little vest and say this is my companion animal.
That's what they do because the airlines charge like $100 or $150 to bring an animal on board. So if they get these vests, they can do it for free, which is a total scam. And they're cracking down now. They're making it more difficult, which I'm happy about. But it still runs pretty rampant. So I think the airlines need to figure something better to get that working.
The Department of Transportation said miniature horses should be prioritized as service animals.
Agreed.
That
what I won't give you a hard time with. But I've seen people bring pigs, peacocks, snakes.
I guess if you're sitting with a horse, if you don't mind having the horse.
Listen, I'd rather have a horse sitting next to me, a miniature horse, than some adults.
Okay.
And I'm serious. I've had.
So I saw, I don't know if you've seen it now, Virgin has a new cruise ship service, the Lady Ships. And they're adults-only cruise ships from Virgin. And then here's the one I'm excited about. Virgin, I guess, has train service now in Florida. And they said, this is working out, so we're going to do Las Vegas to Victorville.
California. Well, Richard
Who wants to go to Victorville? I mean, no disrespect. But
they're trying to
could you just go a little farther and get me to L.A.?
Right.
It's a short trip.
He had Virgin trains in England, although I think they might have gone belly up. I can't remember.
They've been so successful in Florida. I guess they want to expand it. So next year they're going to start building train service. I think trains. I don't know why there hasn't been a high-speed train between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. That would pay for itself. They've been talking about it
for a long time.
Yeah, that would pay for itself.
So,
Johnny Jet, we don't have time for your tip.
Are you kidding me?
We don't have time for your app. No, I ran you out of time. I started talking, and that was the end of that.
No. I always enjoy talking.
It's my real skill is wasting time by gassing. That's how I get paid. Johnny Jet. Go to johnnyjet.com. He's got great stuff there. Really well worth it. Always free. Newsletter, travel information. His Instagram is wonderful. Just
made $30,000 on Instagram.
30,000 on Instagram. That's nice.
Not $30,000. 30,000 followers.
That's worth millions of dollars. He also is on Twitter at Johnny Jet. Thank you, Johnny. We'll talk next week. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, I do want to talk about home security right now, and I want to talk about home security done right with this. Simply Safe. Simply Safe was started by a brilliant couple who were renters, and they couldn't find a good security system that they could take with them. Now, he was a trained engineering guy, and so he engineered the first Simply Safe system. That was many years ago. They've gotten better and better and better. Simply Safe is home security done right. Affordable, very affordable. You can take it with you. You don't need an installer to set it up. Simply Safe sells all the sensors you need, motion sensors, door and window open sensors, even things like water sensors, carbon monoxide, everything you need. You buy the ones you need, and you don't buy the ones you don't need. They're all peel and stick. You can put them anywhere you want. When you move, you take them with you. You don't have to drill holes in the wall or anything like that. You don't need a professional installer. But you do get professional monitoring 24/7, the same exact monitoring these other companies charge $45 or $60 a month for. You get just $15 a month, around the clock, very good monitoring, $15 a month with no contract, no hidden fees, no fine print. Simply Safe is just hands down my choice for home security. And this is the base unit, and you cannot destroy this. You can beat it with a baseball bat. Bad guys could throw it out the window. The cops are still on their way. In fact, they're more likely to be on their way because of video verification. This is something Simply Safe has pioneered. Police, when they get alarms from alarm systems, often take their time. They think it's a false alarm because most of the time from other systems it is. Not with Simply Safe, because they use video verification technology. They could visually confirm the break-in is happening, which means the police come to the scene 3.5 times faster than they do with other home security companies. That's a fact. Another great reason to use Simply Safe. It's just fantastic. And when you see the price, you're going to love it. 83% of burglars say they specifically look to see if there's an alarm. 20 out of every 1,000 households were burglarized in 2017. Don't be the one without an alarm, because you're going to get it. Be the one with Simply Safe. Go to simplysafe.com/twit. They've got a huge deal right now. Free shipping, money back guarantee, of course. Simplysafe.com/twit. 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 It's home security done right. It's the only home security system I recommend. Simply Safe. Love this. And it's really great, when your kid, I have 2 kids out of college, when they're setting up their first household. That's a great gift. It's a great gift. Makes them feel more secure. And then when you're first living away from home, that's nice. Simplysafe.com/twit. All right, now, here, what we're going to do, the biggest nerd gets to sit on my ball.
That's him.
All right, that's me.
And then, to really make this official, we have to crown him.
Oh,
I get a hat.
You're the crown poobah.
All right, awesome.
Can I get the logo? Is that longer?
Yes, there's one for you, too.
Thank you so much.
Get in here. Come on. I'll be in here. Don't worry. I'll squeeze in. Here we go.
Look at that.
Now I can't push the buttons.
John's a trained professional.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leo.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for letting us
John.
in.
Have fun at
Very.
Lagunitas.
Really appreciate
You have a
your
blast.
generosity.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to
it's
meet
a real
you.
pleasure to
Safe
meet you.
travels.
Thank you.
We're going to
Yes,
Spain in November.
Oh,
Yes.
Spain. Where in Spain are you going?
We're starting in Barcelona, then we're going to go
love
to Madrid,
Barcelona.
and then we're going to take
Oh,
the train over to
Seville.
Seville, and then we're going
Oh.
down to the Costa del Sol.
Oh, you're going to have such a great trip.
Oh, I hope so.
The
We're taking
cathedral
my-
in Seville is so amazing.
Yeah, okay, I'll have to get tickets ahead of time.
Absolutely go to the cathedral.
Okay.
And Barcelona, oh my God, you won't want to leave. There's so much in Barcelona.
My mother and my stepfather are 85 and 70.
Oh, is this their first time there? Oh, I love Spain. We were in Spain last year. I love Spain. You're going to have so much fun. Eat lots of jamón ibérico. Yeah. Midnight flight to Memphis. That's where I'm going. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. The phone number. Stephen on the line from San Antone. Hello, Stephen.
Hey, how's it going, Leo?
It's going great. How are you?
Pretty good. 3 weeks ago, I ended up in the hospital and had to spend a week there, and I have an iPhone SE.
Okay. Sorry about the hospitalization.
Yeah. Anyway, it seems that I'm just clumsy walking in my sleep as I am awake.
Oh, no.
But anyway, I logged on to the hospital internet, and I don't know if it's coincidence or something about logging on to the internet. but I lost all my numbers, including yours. That I had put on in the last year. I reverted back to sometime 2 or 3 years ago.
What?
And yeah, and so
it didn't blank it out. It just replaced everything with old numbers.
Yes.
Weird.
And then I called the geniuses, and they only got me more old numbers, and I was never back.
Oh no!
Get back those numbers, but I know how to use the phone book.
Synchronization is kind of notoriously troublesome. It's a hard thing to do if you think about it. You know, where is the official version of a record? Is it on your phone? Is it on the iCloud? I presume. Do you know what you're synchronizing with? Is your data on iCloud? Is it in Google? Where do you?
It was in iTunes, but I assume it was in iCloud.
So that's one thing to investigate. Go into your SE and take a look at accounts. In there, you'll see all the accounts you're logged into, and if you go into the account, there are check boxes next to it for mail, notes, contacts, and calendar. So if you've signed into a Google account, for instance, my guess is this is what's happened, is you signed into some account that you hadn't signed into recently, and Apple, the iPhone said, oh, look, it's a treasure trove of information, and it's synchronized. And it's hard, if you think about it, it's really hard for the software to know, well, which is the phone number he wants to keep. Is it this one? Is it that one? Good software will, well, I don't know if this is good. Sometimes people don't like this. A lot of times what will happen is you get duplication. So you'll have 3 different phone numbers. You might have 3 records, or in one record, you might have 3 different phone numbers for the same person. And I think a lot of people go, oh, that's a mess. It sounds like in your case, for some reason, the phone said, oh, no, this 3-year-old database, that's the most accurate one. That's the one we're going to keep. We're going to throw out everything else. That's not a good response either. Synchronization is hard. So the chances are, well, I don't know what one hopes is that it might have changed it on your phone but didn't change it online, so that maybe you could go synchronize with iCloud and get everything back, or go synchronize with Google and get everything back. What you should do is on your phone, go into the settings, go into accounts, and look at what accounts you have on there. There may be a Yahoo account, there may be Facebook, there may be Google, there may be iCloud. You may have all of those. And then go into each account and see which ones have contact syncing. It could be all of them. However, if it's only one of them, then that's most likely the one with the old data. You can turn that off. When you do, by the way, your phone will say, well, okay, but that means I'm going to erase all the data on the phone. And you say, yeah, that's fine, because I'm now going to turn on iCloud, and that should be more up to date. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would make sense, because I don't use my phone that way. I just use it as a telephone, as I told you before.
Right.
And so I was on Facebook, I was on Google, and I was also on Hotmail. So,
okay, and so all 3 of those plus iCloud could conceivably have copies of your contacts. Maybe the safest thing to do, better than doing this on the phone, would be go home, go open your browser, and log into each of those accounts and look at, contacts.google.com, Facebook contacts, Hotmail, which is outlook.com contacts, and iCloud contacts, and see which database is the most accurate. If you have one that's perfect, probably beat iCloud. If you have one that's perfect, the first thing to do is download it and back it up. So you now have somewhere on your hard drive your address book correct and up to date. That's going to be critical that you make a backup of that, because if everything goes south in this process, at least you can go back to it. Then you can, if you want, wipe the rest of them out and replace them all with that one. The issue is syncing. It's very hard to do syncing. Syncing often gets confused. I'm guessing. I don't think it had to do with being in the hospital, but something happened, And
yeah.
This is kind of, if we were going to make an Aesop's fable about computers, the moral would always be, and then something happened. I don't know what, but it screwed everything up. The end. Because that's pretty much how it is.
Well, it kind of had to do with me being in a hospital since I had nothing to do but lay there.
Oh, you messed with it. You started messing with it.
I got on these different places, and
you started messing with it. Never mess with it, because really, it's a house of cards. So I tell everybody, this is actually, I haven't mentioned this recently, but it is always a good idea. If you've got a contact list somewhere, it doesn't matter where, that's really good. You know, like you've gone through it, you've gotten rid of duplicates, everything seems up to date. You've got it just right. Back that one up. Put it somewhere where it's not synchronizing. It's in a backed up file on your computer or on Dropbox or iCloud or somewhere, and keep that around, because that's your official address book. And then if worse comes to worse, you can delete the address books everywhere, including your phone, iCloud, Hotmail, everywhere, and make that one be the official one. You know, upload it to iCloud and then tell iCloud, sync with everybody. That's one way to get everything to say the same. There are apps that will, in theory, help you with this. I use one, it's not free, on the iPhone, called Full Contact. And Full Contact will help you merge duplicate. It will help you eliminate out-of-date ones, and you can set it up so that it will go out to Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever social network, Twitter even, and get the most up-to-date information. Because most people nowadays keep updated information somewhere, usually Facebook, but somewhere. And if you could figure out where they're keeping their address and phone number up to date and synchronize with that, you'll always be up to date. It also goes out and gets pictures from Facebook or Twitter, wherever somebody's put pictures. So it's called Full Contact. It's not free, unfortunately, but it's a nice app for kind of cleaning up contacts. And it will let you know which networks you're syncing with. So I've been actually, I think that now I think they got acquired, come to think of it, by another address book app. So I'm gonna have to try to. I don't have my iPhone with me because I lent it to my wife. She broke her phone, so I don't know. And there's another story, a long story. Contacts Plus, that's what happened. Full Contact got bought by Contacts Plus, but it does the same thing. So contactsplus.com. It does the same thing.
Enjoy your trip to Jordan. I loved it, and thank you. You are all knowing.
Any tips for Petra?
Well, I would say get there late in the afternoon, because that's what I did. I got there late in the afternoon,
Oh, I bet the slanting sun on that would be so stunning.
Yeah, and we rode the horses in, and then by the time we got back to the hotel. Got into the back at the hotel. They told us we had to go, and then when we came back through the city, there was nobody there.
How fun!
There was nobody.
How
and I
beautiful!
Got pictures of all the places.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
If you have that pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, we're on a cruise ship, which means we're going to be there when the most possible people will be there.
Yeah. Well, we went by car, but yeah, that
smart.
Was, yeah.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. That's a bucket list item to see the city carved out of a cliff of sandstone. I can't wait. Just can't wait.
It's great.
Yeah. Hey, a pleasure talking to you.
Okay, Leo.
Take care. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah, time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones. We got your smart watches. We were talking the iPhone, the new Apple Watch with the always-on display. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. 888-827-5536. The phone extravaganza is not over yet. The other shoe will drop sometime in the next few weeks, probably early October, when Google announces its Pixel 4. And I think we're getting close because the Pixel 4 leaks are coming fast and furious. I love the competition. I have to say, I love the competition between Apple and Google over camera. Google, with the Pixel 3, really set the bar for what a smartphone camera can do. And this was with a single lens, especially with night sight, the ability to take pictures in low light. Apple has we'll see. They have a night mode in their new camera phones. The new is it iPhone 11 and 11 Pro, or is it just 11 Pro? I'm not sure. I can't remember. Certainly 11 Pro with 3 lenses will have a better job of it. They take multiple images, as many as 9 images of a low light scene, figure out which things are moving, which things aren't, and they're essentially able to use high dynamic range and multiple lenses to get so much information about a scene that they can brighten it up. And even if the lights are practically non-existent, it's amazing what you can see. The Pixel 3 has been doing this for a year. Apple is now caught up, presumably. We haven't seen the phone yet, but based on what Apple showed, I would guess they're pretty close. They're doing exactly the same thing. So what will Google do with the Pixel 4? That we don't know. We've seen pictures of it. It does have a multi-camera array this time, unlike last year. So it could be a spectacular phone. But this competition, this race between these two is so good for us because we as consumers get to pick. One thing Apple really has the lead on, and I don't think it's as widely acknowledged maybe as it should be, is in processor design. Apple makes their own chips. Their current chip in the new iPhones is the A13 Bionic. I don't know why they had this Bionic part. But anyway, the A13 Bionic. It is kind of based on the ARM architecture, which is a little bit of a different architecture than Intel's architecture or AMD's architecture. But it has the advantage of being very good in low power modes. Many cores, very powerful GPUs. And what did Apple say? 1.5 billion transistors in these new chips? This is astounding. This new phone is a supercomputer in every respect. Its capabilities are amazing. Now, of course, Google will have a very, very powerful chip, but Google doesn't make its chips. So the Pixel 4 will have almost certainly the Snapdragon 855 from Qualcomm. That's the top-of-the-line Qualcomm chip. And it's a very nice chip, but it is not nearly as powerful in any respect as the Apple chips. And this is where Apple is increasingly, I think, going to have an advantage. It's funny because Apple plays it pretty safe regarding features. They don't put new features in. In fact, one of the features that we expected in the new iPhone didn't materialize. Something Samsung does with the Samsung S10 Plus and S10 and Note 10 is something called reverse charging. You could turn on a switch in the settings, and then you could put any wireless charging device, like, say, your headphones, on the back of the Samsung phone, and it'll charge. It'll use juice from the phone to charge the headphones. Now, I've had this feature in my phone for 9 months, and I've never once used it, but okay. It's an interesting feature, something you can brag about. Apple supposedly was going to build this into the iPhone 11 Pro, but did not. The speculation is that the hardware capability is there, but they didn't turn it on in software for some reason, which we don't know. We won't really know if the hardware is there until probably iFixit or a company like that. iFixit takes, what they do is they literally go to Australia so they can get the phone first. Because of time zones, they're able to get it before everybody else. And by the time you could pick up the phone next Friday, they'll have already taken it apart, and they'll have a much better idea of what capabilities this had, including whether Apple built in reverse charging hardware but neglected to turn it on. Could be they didn't turn it on because it didn't work right. Could be they didn't turn it on because they want to turn it on later and have something, fresh they can announce. I don't know. What they did announce, and I think this, and again, this is everything I say is to be taken with a grain of salt because no one has these phones yet. Actually, I'm pretty sure the Tame Media has these phones. People like the New York Times already have a review unit, but they're embargoed. They're prevented from writing about it probably until Wednesday. So the first reviews will start coming out Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm very curious. Apple is claiming much better battery life on these new phones. They say the iPhone 11 Flow Max will have 5 extra hours of battery life over its predecessor, last year's iPhone 10 Flow Max. So that is 5 hours is a lot. When you're talking, something like 16 to 18 hour battery life, adding another 5 hours. Wow. But again, it's easy to claim. We have independent tests will have to tell us. But if it is the case, then again, look to these new processors that Apple is doing. I think we've heard already that the next version of iOS, which comes out on the 19th, iOS 13, has much better battery life just in software. They're probably doing something like Google did last year, aggressively killing background processes. If you're not using it, turn it off so it doesn't use any juice. But we'll see. And it may well be that these new processors, these 7-nanometer processors, that's the size, 7 billionths of a meter is the size of the wire connecting these transistors. That's much less than a hair. It's on the order of a couple of atoms. That's really tiny. 7-nanometer process. Often that's the case. The smaller the process, the less power they draw. So maybe that's it. My wife said, my phone gets hot. Does that mean it's using, that it's better power handling? No. If you feel heat, that's wasted energy. And that means something in the system is not efficient. Heat is wasted energy. So if your phone's getting hot, then you know that it's not giving you maximum battery life. Heat is a bad sign. But smaller processors generate less heat, less wasted. And these smaller 7-nanometer processes might, in fact, be the key. Wouldn't be surprised. That's what's amazing about the Microprocessor Revolution. So unlike any other industry, as chip processes become more efficient and better, the price goes down, not up. The power usage goes down, not up. And the speed goes up, not down. It's topsy-turvy. But it's one of the things that's really powered the information revolution. It's one of the reasons we have such powerful devices in our pockets now. A supercomputer in your pocket. I'll get my new iPhone on Friday. I'll have it next weekend. We will talk about it, and I'll do the best I can to give you the review, including battery life. Honestly, I think of all the things that you could do with a phone, giving better battery life, isn't that what people really want? Isn't that kind of a high priority? So that I don't have to charge it. I can, I don't have to charge it during the day. I don't have to charge it at lunch. It was getting bad for a while. Laura, 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number. Carmine in Chicago. Hello, Carmine.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Before I get into my question, I just want to thank you and your colleague, Mary Jo Foley, who helped me get my only 2-year-old computer upgraded to Windows 10 1903 before it expired.
Whew, that's a relief,
Yeah, it's just weird. They only do 18 months of support for each version.
I know. It baffles me. Yeah. So just so people know, if you're using Windows 10, you've got to update to the latest version, which is now 1909. That just came out. If you're still back on 1803, which came out in the spring of last year, it's going out of support in a month. Crazy.
You know what's even crazier, Leo? If you have Windows 8, you're in support to 2023.
Yeah, I don't get it. Well, Microsoft, look, and I'm going to give them the best interpretation of this, which is they really want people to keep their systems up to date. And the reason they gave away Windows 10 for a long time is that the deal was you're going to keep it up to date. You're not going to defer those upgrades too long. Because an up-to-date computer means a safer computer for you, but also safer internet. You're not going to be putting malware out in the world. So I understand that's good motivation for doing that. But it does cause problems because yours is not an old computer. And so was it a driver incompatibility? What was the issue for you?
Yeah, it was a display driver, so I upgraded that, and then it was ready to go.
Yeah, and in the long run, this is good for you. I don't think we need the features in 1909. I can't even tell the difference. However, we do need the security patches. That's what we do need, and we need those every month. And it's really important that people not turn those off or not be in a situation where they're not getting them. So I understand Microsoft really wanting to prod people into that. I don't understand Microsoft caring about the twice yearly feature updates. That's been nothing but a nightmare for users, and they really should just stop that.
So my main question is that I have a Chevy Bolt and with Apple CarPlay, and if for whatever reason, whenever I hit the slightest bump in the road, it'll just disconnect. And I'm just wondering.
Oh man, I tell you what, we have a Chevy Bolt too. I'm really happy with it. We got the top of the line loaded one, and with the tax break, it was $30,000. It was a quarter of the price of my Tesla Model X.
Yeah.
And a great car with equal range, and I just think it's a great car. And man, I so far prefer CarPlay and Android Auto on that Bolt to whatever Tesla put in there for their media player. It's just much better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's up to date. I drive right now because my wife has the Bolt. So she makes me drive a gas car, an Audi. It's only 2 years old, but the built-in, entertainment system, maps and everything is so slow, it's barely usable. The beauty of using CarPlay or Android Auto is you're getting an up-to-date iPhone or an up-to-date Android device with the fastest possible processor and the maps, and that's what you're using, and it gets updated automatically, faster than the car ever could. So I think it's brilliant. I'm going to guess that what's happening is you've got a loose connection somewhere. That's why a bump would disconnect it temporarily. Unfortunately, the way CarPlay and Android Auto currently work, you have to have a physical cable connection.
Yeah, I tried different cables, and I still have the same problems. I don't know if it's my phone or something with the car or the connection.
I doubt it's the phone, although one thing to check, you'd be surprised how often this happens. It's really easy to get lint in the connector, the lightning port, and a little dust in there, and that might, in fact, mean that you can't firmly connect the lightning cable. A little canned air, blow it in there, often fixes it. And I actually have had people take their iPhone to the Apple store. Guy looks in there and goes, oh, yeah, blows it out. Everything's fine.
Okay, I'll try that.
So that's the first thing to look at is make sure you don't have a little lint. It's easy. That lint easily gets in there from the pocket or whatever in your Apple's lightning port. You also maybe try a different cable because sometimes cables themselves go. In fact, Apple's cables in particular seem to be very easily destroyed or damaged. So make sure you just try a different one to see if another lightning cable would work better. It could be that the cable also isn't connecting fully into the Type A connector that's on the Bolt. So that might be shaking loose. That's a little harder to fix, but again, a different cable might improve that. Past that point, nothing you can do. You're going to have to take it to Chevy and say, look, it shouldn't be doing that.
Right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
And by the way, I should say, we have a Chevy Bolt. That never happens to me.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's just something...
I think it's something local to your cable or your phone, most likely, yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Leo.
Hey, my pleasure. Enjoy your Bolt. What color did you get?
A red.
We got I wish we got the red. We got the electric blue. We call it our little blueberry. And Lisa doesn't like it because the windshield wipers go out instead of in. They're it's hard to describe, but they don't go side to side. They join in the middle and then go out like, I don't know how I could describe it, but she calls it her clown car. I like it. I think the Bolt's a great deal. I am thrilled, in fact, as a total devotee. I've been completely converted to electric vehicles. I love them. In fact, dealers probably don't love them because most of the time, dealers make most of their money on servicing. And the problem with electric vehicles is they don't need to be serviced much. Volkswagen announced its new ID3 won't be available in the U.S., alas, but it's in Europe and I think Asia too. And the service contract is once every 2 years. Not every 5,000 miles. There's no oil changes. There's no oil. Once every 2 years, and that's mostly for windshield wiper fluid and tires, because electric motors are incredibly simple and reliable. I mean, this is a fantastic, the cars are fun to drive, they're peppy, they have great torque, and I think because we're seeing more and more electric chargers all over the country, I think the whole issue of, they call it range anxiety, worried about running out of electricity. Imagine if there were a tenth the number of gas stations, you might reasonably worry about running out of gas. But the Bolt has a over 300-mile range, I think. It's it's 240-mile range, something like that. For most of the driving most people do, that's plenty. I think it's a great little vehicle, and I'm just sold. Once the lease runs out on this gas-based Audi, I will be all electric all the time. And there are so many great electric vehicles coming: Volkswagen, Audi, the Porsche Taycan, a little out of my range. There's a Mini Cooper now, the electric Cooper. There's going to be some great choices. Of course, still Nissans, their Leaf and the Bolt and the Kia Niro, and the EVs from Fiat. There's some great choices out there. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More car calls coming up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And the great Eddie Money. We're going to miss you, Eddie. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Ben is in Auburn. Hello, Ben. Leo Laporte.
Hey, good to talk to you.
War Eagle.
War Eagle. I have a question about two-factor authentication.
Yes, sir.
I've been going through and setting up two-factor on all my accounts using the LastPass authenticator.
Nice.
But I'm finding that a lot of the sites will also make me, even LastPass made me give a phone number to set up SMS as a backup.
Don't. No. And, bad. So that's a great question. If there is a fallback to SMS, whatever the weakest link in a chain is, that's your weak link. And if there's a fallback to SMS, it doesn't matter how strong the primary authenticator is, you're still only as good as your text message. And because the bad guys will go, oh, good, I can use a text message. And that means you're then prone to something that is really nasty called SIM jacking. You may remember 2 weeks ago, the CEO of Twitter's account was hacked, Jack Dorsey. And after a little research, it turned out that he'd been SIM jacked. Bad guys have figured out what his cell phone number was. They need to know that. This attack only works as a targeted attack. They need to know your cell phone number. But then they call the phone company and they say, oh, some sob story. I lost my phone. I moved. I need a new SIM or new whatever. Or can you have this? I got the SIM. Can you make this one be my number? And unfortunately, phone companies aren't super secure. Customer service reps are there to serve, even if it's a bad guy, as long as they think it's you. And so they SIM jack. And that's how, the bad guys, the chuckling squad, the hacker group, was able to pose as Jack Dorsey because they had his phone number. They were able to send or spoof his phone number. And that turned out to be a very easy hack. So you're exactly right. Now, with LastPass, you can disable SMS, which I've done. I use for LastPass. Now, what all of these companies, Google, LastPass, everybody, they want you to have a fallback, because what they don't want is for you to lose your authenticator and then not be able to get into your account. So it's my strong recommendation, for instance, that you give Google a phone number and an email address that's not a Gmail address, so that if you somehow get your account hijacked, you can get your account back. That's different from using a second-factor authentication through SMS. Okay, that's an account recovery procedure, and you got to rely on Google, LastPass, whoever, to add additional authentication. Like, okay, well, I'm calling you at this number, but you better prove you are, who you say you are in some second way in addition to this phone number. That's different from an SMS message, which doesn't do anything. It just sends a 6-digit code to your phone number, which could be in the hands of an attacker. So I would turn that off. Even Twitter, by the way, after this happened, Twitter turned that off. So you can go in and turn on two-factor, but not have the fallback be text messaging. Always turn that off. Most banks, including mine, and I have a good bank, USAA, but they still fall back to text messages. Almost all banks do, because they have decided that there's a lot of normal people using this. They want people to use two-factor. That's definitely better. Even SMS is better than no factor, right? One factor. because there's still the bad guy has to know your number and go after you specifically. So it's still a speed bump. It's just not as much of one as one thinks. But they really worry about normal users, losing their authenticator. So they always give you this second SMS option.
So if they make you fall back to SMS, you would still go ahead and set up.
It's still better than nothing. Sure, it's a lot better than one factor, password and login, because the bad guy still has to get your phone number. They have to go to the trouble of SIM jacking you. Really, it's only people like Jack Dorsey who are prime targets, or spies, or political dissidents, or very, very wealthy people who are targeted. It's not, most hackers aren't going to target you. I have to also tell you the dirty little secret of security. If you are being targeted, especially by a nation state, if the U.S. government decides they want you, they're going to get you. There's nothing you can do. What you're really mostly trying to do is protect yourself against, the average script kiddie who wants to, get your bank account. And even SMS is better than nothing, yes. But when you can turn off SMS, just remember now, you better not lose your YubiKey, or you better not lose your authenticator. I recommend and use an authenticator program. They often talk about Google Authenticator, but I recommend Authy, A-U-T-H-Y, because it will save all your authentication codes. Encrypted, only you can get them, but it will save them on their server. That way you can move from phone to phone. So if you lose a phone, you haven't lost all the authentication codes. The other thing almost always companies will do when they give you this is say, and here are 10 offline authentication codes. Print these and store them somewhere safely. That's your last resort. And so you should always do that. You know what I do? I put it in LastPass. So in the notes section.
Ask you about that too. I've been putting them in Google Drive, I guess.
It's a little less secure.
Okay.
LastPass is encrypted so that no one can see it. Google Drive is encrypted so that no one except a Google employee can see it. So I just put it, so there's two things that work here. One thing, you're smart. You don't want a single point of failure. If everything's in LastPass and LastPass somehow gets hacked, they got it all.
Yeah, that's right.
On the other hand, it's a very, very, very secure vault. And we should mention they're a sponsor of the shows, and I'm a big fan. I've been using them for about 10 years.
Yeah.
But any password manager all the big name password managers do a very, very good job of this. Obviously, you can't put your backup codes in LastPass because you would only need them if you can't get into LastPass. So those you need to store somewhere securely. But your bank or Google or whatever, I always do that, and I always put those in LastPass. The only one you can't is LastPass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just put those in a note?
Yep. I just paste them in a note, and I can't tell you how often that's been useful.
Okay.
Twitter, for instance, there's a lot of reasons. But wherever you can, and this includes Twitter, I would go into Twitter now that they've turned off. They used to require SMS. They've turned that off. If possible, turn it off. But just remember, then you need some other way of authenticating. Security often involves imagination. You have to imagine the worst case scenario. And then what would you do? What if you lost your phone? Then what would you do? And you have to kind of plan for those disaster scenarios. It's not much fun. Some people are better at it than others. I don't like to dwell on the disasters, but that's kind of the best way to think about what could go wrong.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what could possibly go wrong, and then plan for those. I'm glad you asked, because honestly, banks should stop using SMS. It's not necessary anymore.
Yeah, that's the one you really want to be more secure, and
right.
They usually only have the SMS.
Well, and the reason SMS is not secure is because the actual broadband radio software, SS7, that all phones use was hacked years ago and has never been fixed. Plus, customer service reps. It is a very good idea to call up your phone company and say, I only want people to access my account if they have a PIN. And I think everybody will do that. In fact, I got a message from T-Mobile a year ago saying, please put a PIN on your account because we've had some SIM jacking issues. Once a PIN's on there, when you call the customer service rep, they'll say, okay, but you need your PIN.
Yeah.
So that's another form of two-factor. That one's in your brain, though. Do that also. Make it hard. The whole idea is, look, if the government's after you, you're out of luck. But anybody else, make it hard. Give them some speed bumps. That's the whole idea of security. Hey, great to talk to you. I'm glad you asked. Those are high-level and important questions. A lot of people don't think about that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's why they can't fix SS7, because it's so ancient. Everything uses it, and they can't modify it. So we're just stuck with this buggy protocol. Do you love to hear percussion? Leo Laporte, the tech guy, with apologies for the disco. But, you know, when it's Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer, you got to play a little disco. He is our Giz Wiz, our gizmo wizard, joins us each week with a great gizmo or gadget. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing, pal?
I am well. How are you?
I am super good, thank you.
Do you have something goofy?
You know what? I have a fun gadget if you have a bike or an e-scooter.
I do. I have
It's
both.
from a company called Cycle.bike, and they're Wing Lights 360. So what they are, it's a pair of lights. They're magnetic, so that when you want to leave your bike outside, you can clip them together and put them in your backpack or wear them on your belt. But what they are is they slide in the end of your handlebar at each end.
Okay.
And when you are going to make a turn, you press the button, and it'll indicate to the driver.
It's a turn signal.
It's a turn signal.
Nice.
Now, the deluxe model also has, I call them running lights from being on a boat. But in the back, they'll see a red light. People facing you will see a white light.
Ooh.
So they know in which direction you're moving. And you can either click the signal light off when you're done or just wait 45 seconds and the signal light will go off by itself. And they are rechargeable, and they're magnetic. So what you do is you slip these little magnetic things into the end of your handlebars, and they stay there. And then these, when you come out, you just click these into your bike. And if you're going mountain biking, there's a little lock in it if you want it to lock into place. But the magnet is very strong. I've been playing this for a while. And then they give you the little thing that you can carry them with you or throw them in your backpack. They're really neat. And they are $79.99. If you don't want the white and red lights, just turn signals, they're $49. And if you don't want the whole magnetic thing, they're $25.
Nice. I think this is a great idea. When I ride my bike, I am a Christmas tree. I am lit up and down. Oh, no, seriously, because I love riding my bicycle. I am a bicycle fanatic. But all it would take is one person not paying attention. You know, we even have bike lanes around our little town here, which is nice. But all it would take is one person not paying attention, and boom, you're gone.
No, absolutely. And like here in the city, there's like 21 people have been knocked off bikes in the past 30 days.
It kind of takes the fun out of riding a bike, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. Well, this is at least a step in the right direction to be able to be seen.
I have lights on my back, lights on my front. I have a Laval helmet that lights up. That actually is my turn signal. That actually has a blinker on my head. Although I wonder if people wonder, is he insane? Because I don't think it's kind of...
No, I was in Petaluma once, and you were coming in with your bike, and this guy was driving, and he said, "Oh my gosh, look at that guy!" And he drove right into a tree.
Right into a tree. Yeah, but I was safe.
You were safe.
That's all I care about.
Safe.
They think the alien invasion has begun when they see me coming. But I want, I think that helps.
You know what? I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah. This is nice. So these are a little pricey, but not
a little
awful.
pricey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you want to know more, you can go to Dick's website, gizwiz.biz, gizwiz.biz. Click that big button that says the GizWiz visits the tech guy. All the stuff he mentions on our show is there, but he's, Dick's on ABC, World News Now, and a lot of other places, and you'll find links to all of his good stuff on his website, including the What the Heck Is It contest. Let me see.
Ta-da!
Today It is those weird square glasses that kid wears on that cartoon show. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It could be, it's a cricket launcher. That's what it is. It's, I don't know. You tell you what, here's the deal. Click the button that says, what the heck is it? Look at the close-up of a gadget. Come up with the right answer or the wrong answer. It doesn't really matter. There's Autograph Mad magazines, up to 6 for the correct answer, up to 12 for the best wrong answers. Judges have a very small attention span, Dick says, so keep the answers short. Actually, read all the rules at gizwiz.biz, but it'd be fun to get wouldn't it be fun to get an autographed copy of Mad from this guy?
Yeah, you'll be playing for possibly the last issue of the last original issue of Mad with that.
Did you have to bring that up?
No, but then there's going to be a half original issue after that I'm also in already.
Half original?
It's going to be, instead of they were going right into
like this show, it's only half original. Rest is made up.
They're going to do the Mad 20 and add that into the issue, which will be, I guess, issue 11. Yeah.
I got a gadget for you.
Oh, what do you got?
I just realized. So when we moved into our house about 4 or 5 years ago, it had a LiftMaster garage door opener, right? And the guy, when we bought the house, he gave us, 2 beat-up garage door openers that he'd had forever. What I didn't realize is we weren't tied to that garage door opener. One of them just fell apart the other day. I thought, we're never going to be getting into their house again. So I went online, and it turns out LiftMaster makes a universal garage door remote that's smaller and really easier than the big one that you clip on your visor. I keep it on my keychain. Now, this is a 2-door. You don't know about this because you live in New York City. Nobody has a garage. But in the suburbs, Dick, we have a place that we house our car. Oh, you don't know about cars either. So cars are these things with 4 wheels and an engine.
Oh my God, no. I know about housing cars. I told you. In this neighborhood, it's $900 a month to house a car.
God.
Indoors.
For a garage. Holy cow. Anyway, I just was really pleased to find out. I just want to tell everybody, because I didn't know it, and maybe others don't, that there are now universal. This LiftMaster works on a variety of makes and models, and you just program it like you would, a remote control, and then you can, open your garage door again. So I bought a half dozen of them because they're only like $30, and I scattered them around the house because I figured, well, you know why? Because biking again. What are you going to do with one of those big garage door openers designed for a car visor when you're biking around? You don't want to put that in your pocket. So this one I just keep on my keychain with my bike lock, and now I have a garage door opener when I get home.
I think that's great. Yeah. I think it's great. Yeah. I think a company named Genie is also doing that now.
Genie may very well. I bet you they're all doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you're lucky and you have a car that supports, the home, whatever it's called, the home standard, then your car may already do that. But I like it for my bike. This is my bicycle garage door opener.
Perfect.
Dick also does a weekly podcast with Chad Johnson. Does Chad's hair still orange?
Reddish orange, absolutely.
Reddish orange. Okay.
Yeah, most of it. Not his skin, just his hair.
Just his hair. It's a great show, the GizWiz podcast at gizwiz.tv every week. Thank you, Dickie D.
Okay, buddy. See you next week.
Always a pleasure. Somebody's telling me that, now see, I'm learning a lot of things, that there is a LiftMaster app for the iPhone or the Apple Watch. I don't need this fob.
Oh, my gosh.
There's an app for that. See, live and learn.
Chat room knows everything.
They're brilliant.
They know a lot.
No,
They're
know.
Brilliant.
They don't. I wouldn't say they know everything. They don't know everything.
If they knew everything, would they be listening to this?
That's right. They'd say, no, I'm going to do a show of my own, actually. Thank you, Dickie D. Thanks to Big Pee-wee, his last day with us, right? Are you going now? All right. Well, he's been a great musical director. Laura's taken over, though. She's great, too. Thanks to the return of Kim Schaffer answering the phones. Most of all, thanks to you for being here. I love doing this show, but it'd be hard to do it if no one listens, so thank you. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.